Hey friends, family, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Happy July 4th, or 4th of July. Today we celebrate our Independence Day. But that's not what this video is about. It's not to tell you the history of this great nation. This video is going to show you some tips and some tricks and some ways that you can get your patches sewn onto your vest via a sewing machine. Okay. As you can see, this is leather. Leather is a very thick material. So if you were to iron your patches on, chances are they wouldn't stick. You wouldn't want to ride and find an empty vest. Okay? Now some vests have ties on them. Okay? And some vests are solid. Mine just so happens to have some ties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them out and make it easier, and I'll show you why. I'll have to excuse my dogs. They just had their dental sticks, so they're thirsty. Okay, now as you can see, I have a panel with a patch already sewn. Pretty good, not gonna come off, okay? And get in the habit of closing everything so it won't get in the way, okay? Now the patch that we're gonna sew is this one right here, okay? So you're going to undo string here. So how many of you guys have actually had some practice and some experience with a sewing machine? Anybody? How many of you guys have actually sewn with a needle and a thread, like by hand? Have you guys tried it? It's kind of hard, isn't it? Yeah. Believe it or not, I had to sew these on by hand so that they would stay on while I ride until I can get to a sewing machine and sew the rest. Okay. And again, check the pockets. Zip up the side. Okay. Okay. As you can see, this panel is now separate from this panel because we're only going to be working on the back panel. Now, why did I do that? Because as you sew, the part you're working on has to be a good surface. Okay? So I'm going to be sewing and turning this part, the thin part, not the thick part where all the padding is in the front, all right? So my needle is in the highest position. Can you guys see that? Okay? If I bring it down, you'll start to see it move. You see that? Okay? Now, when you guys sew with the sewing machine, okay, my suggestion is, do you guys see the edge here? The hemmed, or the bordered edge of this patch? Okay. It's pulling a little bit because I didn't use the actual edge. I sewed on the inside of the edge. My recommendation to you is to sew on the inside of the patch so you can't see the string, okay? Another suggestion I have for you is don't start in the middle. You want to start at a corner so you can end at the same corner. For example, all right, we have 4 corners if you look at this technically. You have this corner, this corner, this corner, and down here at the bottom, right? So if I start right in the center, I'm not going to know where I started. I'm going to have a couple stitches at the top. It's not going to look very professional, okay? And I'll show you what to do to be able to keep stitches on there for a while, okay? It's called a double thread, okay? Or you can think of it like a backtrack sort of thing, all right? So, all right, if I pull the thread out, you can see that it's basically came out, but if I pull it, it's not going to come off like this. It's not very strong, all right? So what I recommend you do is you start right on the inside of this corner and work your way around here or around the top. One or the other. Don't stop and go the other way. It's not how this works, okay? So what I like to do is I like to go along the straight edges and then work my way and turn it like a jigsaw saw, all right? So I'll show you how that works, how that goes in motion, okay? Now, what you're gonna need to do is they purposely make a hole here, all right? They purposely leave you a hole here for your material, your fabric, to go through so you can sew while you're moving your fabric, all right? So what I'm going to do with my bottom portion is I'm going to feed it, well, I'm going to kind of roll it, but I'm going to feed it through this part here. And I'm going to stop at the corner, and then I'm going to bring my needle down so I see where it comes, okay? Right there. That's where I want it, okay? I'm going to poke the leather, okay? It's already down. You see this? This is called your presser foot. It's going to press the fabric down to make it a good, solid surface, okay? And you're going to hear it ka-thunk, okay? You really don't want to do it in that motion, but you guys understand my point here? Okay. So, you're going to want to go at a slow pace, okay? And promise me when I say this, don't go too fast, otherwise you're going to have a zigzag pattern. Start off slow and start getting faster until you can work with it so you can move it in a way that you're not going to go all over the place, all right? And I'll show you what I'll show you what that looks like and sounds like, okay? Your hands are only one. You can replace a needle, you can replace a foot, you can replace this product, this whole thing, but you cannot replace your hands. Do not hurt yourself, okay? Put your hands away from the work, okay? I like to leave about a good 4 to 5 inches away, but enough so I can grip it and move it when I need to turn it, okay? So here we go. All right, now, if I lift the corner, okay, right here, you see that? It's already started, okay? Sorry you can't see that, but you see that? You hear that? That means that that's good, okay? And I won't have to worry about much of it. Now, I'm going to show you a neat little tool, okay? This is called a thread cutter, okay? This thing right here. It's a thread cutter, okay? What I like to do is I like to go and take the threads that I've already done, just gently cut them, okay? And if you do this carefully, you can actually pull them from where you were working the last time, okay? And I encourage you to do that while you have your primary stitch ready, because it's going to be damn near impossible to get at them later, okay? Alright, so now we continue on. Alright, doing the same thing. Make sure you give firm pressure so that it's gonna go straight as you do your sewing. Alright? Okay, I'm about to hit a curve. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go forward a little bit and stop. Okay? Then I'm gonna turn the fabric just a tad and go along the curve, okay? This is what that looks like, okay? Now, back it out just a tad. So the needle is in there. I'm gonna go forward a little bit. Then I'm gonna lift it up and turn it, okay? Make sure it's straightened, like my work. And start sewing. Okay. Alright, so now we're now at the corner. So you know what I have to do? Is I have to lift up the little foot and rotate my material 90 degrees. That's how it's done. Okay? With the needle down. Do you know why I do that? So that it rotates at the same point I want to start sewing again. Okay? So I lift up the thing. One second, I need to have a beverage. Much better. All right. Move that down there. That up there. I'm going to pull that side there. I'm going to put that over there. Now I'm at that spot where I can start picking the other thread that I had while it was laid down. Now, you can cut it, but you can also pick and tuck. Pick and tuck. See? Watch. I'm not cutting it. I'm just lifting. And then you pull the thread out. Okay? Again, you want to start at a slow pace. You don't want to start fast because you're going to start making mistakes. Okay? Alright, once I have my position, the presser foot goes down, and I start. Alright, so, here's the thing, okay? This is going to get into a bunch of rotations, so you're going to need to go slower so you can rotate your work as you're sewing. Alright? Because it's not going to make sense to stop, rotate, stop, rotate, stop, rotate, stop, stop, rotate, stop, rotate, work. It doesn't make sense. So go slow so you can adjust your speed accordingly. Okay? Now, also, there's a lever on your machine, and it's in the upright position. When you push that button down, that lets your work go backwards. So if you need to reinforce an area, push down, hold it, and the needle will retrace your steps, all right? Only do this if you're prepared for it. Don't do it every single time, all right? Like, if you need to reinforce a corner, that's where I would use it, all right? But I don't have any corners to reinforce, so I think I'm good to go, all right? Just pull, tuck, and pull. At this point, I can just pull the thread. Now this part's where it gets a little tricky because these corners are kind of sharp, so that's why I'm doing the twist and turn technique. Okay? Like here, I'm going to have to make a U, so I'm going to have to go, stop, rotate, and go back the other way. Alright? This is how it looks. right, now, if you rotate, what do you need to do? You need to take your needle and put it through the fabric and lift your foot. So, I normally will take my hand, the wheel back here, the big wheel, okay, and rotate towards me, okay, which looks like this. Now, it's in the material. Now I lift my foot, and I can freely move it. But the needle in the fabric is not going anywhere. So it's kind of like a 3-in-1. You're holding the material, you're creating a turning point, and your work is not going to go anywhere. Okay? I think I've pretty much shown you guys how I do my patches and sewing and all that. So that's basically it, you know. If you guys have any issues with sewing with a machine, you're welcome to well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. My thread just came off the little hinge. And it looks like it wants to run away from me for a little bit. So alrighty. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video. You guys have seen all my work. You guys have seen my tricks, my tips, how to sew with a sewing machine. So I think the rest is pretty much self-explanatory. Alright, I will see you guys on the flip side. Happy 4th, and y'all stay safe, take care, don't do something I wouldn't do. Alright, have a good one, guys. I love you bunches. Bye-bye.